cough louder into the headset next time, please. I love that. I'm just kidding.
For those who are just listening, I apologize if I sound nasal, but I've had a sinus infection for a little bit over a week now.
I was gonna say Mahmoud's been sick for 2 weeks.
Yeah, since DFX.
Yeah, since TFX. And you were actually sick,
In
sick.
bed for like 3 days, yeah. I think I was horizontal for 2 full days.
That's awful.
Hmm.
That's awful. All right, first podcast in a long,
I want to say 9 months maybe
probably something obscenely
since the last
long.
open.
Yeah, probably actually.
Yeah.
Well, I guess we should recap more than just um, the last couple months then.
How far back you want to go?
I mean, I guess we'll just go. We'll just go from the like. We'll just do the end of, I guess, 2024 into 2025. So the Open happened, quarterfinals happened, and then yeah, semifinals happened. Uh, we had a bunch of people at semifinals, like a couple teams
Hmm.
in the East and the West, and then Hattie qualified for the games. Alina's team qualified for the games.
Yep.
Jamie qualified for the Masters games. Uh, Morgan qualified for the teenager games. Am I missing anything?
That was a risky game, man. It's been a year. I don't
I
remember.
know, I know. I don't think we're forgetting
I don't think we're missing
Angelina
anybody, but if we are, we're really sorry.
for games qualifications. I don't think we are.
Yeah.
Man, that was a long time ago. So we went. The games were in Dallas, which was really nice for me to drive there. I'm just being honest with everybody. And then the games happened. We're just
Just
gonna
go on
gloss over that just like that
that. Just
because
go
at this point, anything Mahmoud or I say isn't gonna be anything that hasn't been said by
Exactly.
somebody.
Yep.
So games happened, and then went into winter, bunch of qualifiers throughout the fall and winter, and that
And then
brings
the season
us.
started, and NCC, TFX,
Yeah,
Wadapalooza.
yeah, that's a
It's
good place to start.
Yep.
I'm gonna need these. Look, I'm
It's
gonna
been a month
need
and a half of just competing.
I'm gonna need event organizers to start talking to each other
Yeah.
because holy moly, getting
Or there
off
should be a CrossFit event coordinator.
getting off of the plane from Wadapalooza, driving straight to the gym and judging qualifiers and doing that was my brain was in a blender. Like I was completely unwell
Yeah.
by the time I got home. We didn't get home until like 4 o'clock that night. But anyways, yeah. So NCC qualifiers, obviously Wadapalooza happened. We had
Kind of overlapping together.
yeah, actually at the exact same time. So we had Hattie at Wadapalooza, Alina at Wadapalooza, Sarah Bolts was out at Wadapalooza, um,
Madison.
Madison, Alyssa were at Wadapalooza, and then NCC quals we had Hattie qualify for NCC while getting ready for Wadapalooza. That was a dumpster fire. Um, Courtney qualified, Alina
Elena.
qualified. That's all we really had doing NCC, right?
I didn't have anybody else do it yet.
I don't think I had anybody else doing NCC. And then TFX was the week after Wadapalooza, which you got to experience a 3 hour road trip with me.
That
So
was very fun.
hopefully that didn't go too badly.
No, that was very fun.
Uh, so we had
Had a
a
bunch of athletes.
we had a bunch of people at TFX. Not gonna name everybody because we're gonna forget people. Um, but I feel like TFX went well.
We had a variety of divisions too, from like pro to pro team to teams of 3RX, so RX men, RX women,
Yeah,
intermediate women, intermediate men.
I feel like pro men.
Well, yeah,
Like
pro men,
yeah,
sorry.
I feel like TFX was one of the few competitions I've ever coached at where in every division we almost had polar opposite things happen for everybody. Like we had people in the intermediate division who outperformed. We had people in the intermediate division who didn't have a great weekend. We had people in pro teams who sustained injuries. We
Hmm.
had people who kind of mounted a comeback on the last couple of days and were happy with how they finished and performed. I mean, Coach Brady, ended up getting on the podium, taking first place with his team. So it's just like,
Coach Gary, she, if my knowledge is actually accurate, I think she finished in fifth, and she got
they
an
did.
invitation for the invitational
Yeah, the TFX with a torn bicep.
with a torn bicep. Yes, yeah,
Not
that's
like kind of torn, like
no, 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 like
detached.
surgery the next 5 days later. Yeah,
Yeah, like she had half a bicep on one side. So that was cool. Yeah, I don't know. It was like when we left TFX, I felt like
we've been there for a week.
we had a season's worth of ups and downs in 72 hours. I was like,
Yeah,
holy crap.
from snatch PRs to like 700 appeals to
Yeah.
it
Yeah.
was it
I
was
should have known it was going to be like that when I had to file an appeal the first day.
yeah.
Like, oh, this is how this is going to go. So, yeah, TFX went well. And then I went out to Fittest of the Coast. Um, I really enjoy that comp. It's a lot of fun. It was my second year there. But we had uh, my wife in the pro team co-ed and then Demi in pro team co-ed and Corby in pro team co-ed who's coached by Hattie. Him and his partner absolutely crushed it. They got third.
Nice.
um, Angelina was out in intermediate, was in 10th,
CC
got 10th. CC female pro team, I think they got 8th.
fourth.
Fourth? Oh no, fourth. You're right. That's totally wrong. I was thinking Demi and Courtney's team were
I mean,
right
of
next to
course,
each
got
other.
eighth and ninth,
Yeah.
and then Melissa.
Melissa, with her first pro indie comp,
Nice.
absolutely crushed it. She outperformed all of her expectations, so that was really good. She did not love the swim event, but we'll
Oh, was the
we'll get
swim only in individual?
hmm
Okay,
So
I did
the
realize.
indies or the pros had the swim. So the pros had the swim
Mm.
thruster workout, and then all the other individual divisions had it's like a carry into that 1,200-meter run thing.
Was it the
Where
Angelina fall?
yes,
That picture
yes,
should be. We should
we need
print
that
that picture
framed in
out.
the gym somewhere.
Yeah,
It's so good.
you guys are not, again. If you're listening, Angelina, she's 19 years old and she's very athletic, but somebody took a
Mm,
picture of her just
mm.
trying to get over an obstacle, and all you could see is just one leg in the
I
air.
I think at this point for Angelina, we have to just accept the fact that she's incredibly athletic on her hands.
Yeah, her upper body is more athletic than her lower
She
body.
is not the most athletic person with her lower body all the time, but that's okay. That's
Yeah,
okay.
we're still in the learning curve.
Yeah, that was amazing. You would have really enjoyed
I love
watching
that
her
she
run.
posted it and not a story. She put it as a post on social media. I was like,
She
that's awesome.
she thought it was hilarious. This random
Look
lady was like, "I saw you going over the wall," and she'd been taking pictures, and she showed Angelina the picture, and Angelina was like, "Can you send that to me?" It was so funny. It was so good.
yeah. And
Yeah, the
then
last words I told her was be athletic, be smooth and athletic over the obstacles.
she did smooth.
That is not what happened.
Let's not forget Monster Games qualifiers that are still ongoing at this point. We have a bunch of people doing them as well, all over the country as well. That will happen later in the year in July, if I'm not mistaken, with all the dates.
Yeah, June or July. They end next Tuesday though.
Yes,
Yeah,
Tuesday
next
at
Tuesday.
7 p.m.
And
But
then
yeah,
qualifiers are done.
well, I mean, the Open is
Well,
literally the first day after.
there's
No,
French
no,
Throwdown, but I mean
yeah, we have a couple athletes doing it, or just Matt.
Madison's planning on doing them. Yeah, so I think she's.
Um, so let's just talk about So far we have athletes that are punching their tickets into the in-person qualifier events for the games.
Semifinals.
They're in-person qualifier for the games. Oh, sorry.
I'm calling them
AKA
semifinals because
semifinals,
that's a
in-person
mouthful.
finals.
I don't have time for that. It's a
Um,
semifinal.
so we have, as you mentioned, the NCC people. So Hattie, Alina, and Courtney. We
Alina,
have
Courtney, and yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
for the TFX Invitational, through TFX, they have secured or punched the ticket. We have Jacob Marlowe. We've got basically Brady as a team,
Mhm.
Carrie Tobias as a team. Um,
I think
I think that's it
yeah.
so far.
And they
And
can't qualify for the games from that, but it's still
yeah, yeah. Um, well, that's very exciting so far, and we haven't even started the Open yet.
and the Open hasn't even happened. Yeah, I said that the other day. It's the weirdest thing, like having athletes qualified for a
It's a completely different,
semifinal level event, and the Open hasn't even happened yet.
yeah. And
Very
then
strange.
I guess the elephant in the room is like, are you going to have, or has anybody showed interest in doing the World Fitness Project qualifiers?
I mean, I can only speak for my individual athletes, and then
Right. Absolutely.
a couple ascend athletes, that are coached by their coaches that I've talked to, but I don't have anybody interested.
Yeah. I think everybody is going to probably at least watch the first qualifier unfold and see what happens in the first tour,
Yeah,
which is also like for I hate to generalize, but like for the majority of the number of our athletes that live in the South, they wouldn't want to go to Indianapolis anyways. They'd rather go to Arizona. So it makes more sense to
sure.
do the second tour.
Yeah,
If
sure.
if they would do it, and it also would be like later in the season when they have found out how the season CrossFit season have went for them. That CrossFit Games season, I guess, is the right terminology there. But
Well, you could still call it the CrossFit season because WFP can't use the word CrossFit. So,
true.
anyways,
Um, but yeah. Um, what else did we have aside from competitions happen this year?
um, like the beginning of this year or last year?
Either any updates?
Um, gosh, I mean, I got married in October, so there's that.
That's a big
But
update. Yeah.
yeah, I mean,
Man.
I from New Year's to now has just been a feels like a fever dream. like I, I don't know where I've been half of the time or what's been going on. It's just like, okay, I'm gonna go do the next thing I know I have to do right now.
Playing catch. I just look at the calendar, do the thing.
Yeah, and that's been literally what every day has been for a month and a half. Um, I mean, things have been pretty smooth outside just a lot of qualifiers for people and things like that. I feel like most everybody else has been, the competitions they've done, and then January and February is always kind of tough because a lot of people do TFX and they jump right into Monster Games qualifiers.
Yeah.
Again, I would really like it if y'all talk to each other. Not the point. Anyways,
Right.
so there's a lot of that going on, and then I think people are just kind of waiting to see what the Open is.
Hmm.
I think people are excited for the Open. At least I know, a lot of my athletes are ready to get after it in the Open. But I also think there's a small degree of not apprehension, but just kind of not sure what the
Hesitation.
Open's going to be
Lack
like
of,
this year.
there's hesitation. There's definitely lack of trust after the events of the games last year, which is holding some people back. But I mean, I don't know. I can only speak about like people in Ascend and the CrossFit Greater Heights community, or like we're trying to make this open about them,
Mm-hmm.
about the community, about recapturing that like, oh, this is actually one fun. Two,
Mm-hmm.
it's just fitness, right? It doesn't have to be anything more or less than that.
Right.
And yeah, like we were just having three cool sisters in our gym be team leaders for the gym, and they're like just gonna get the community rally behind each sister, and we'll see which team like gets the open. Like that's um kind of what we're gonna go for. We're gonna try and
Is kind of lucky that there's three of them.
That is very true.
because
Yes,
you
and
can't do that with just two.
no, you're gonna have to have like a two and a cousin or something.
Right. But there's the fact that there's three of them worked out really well for you.
Yeah, but we're gonna also try and encourage any of our athletes, aspiring athletes that have always preferred like, hey, I would like to do a team competition, but I can't be at the semifinal level, whatever. So, all right, let's hop on a team. Let's compete in what is basically a team format of the Open, which is
Mhm.
called now the team semifinal.
Yeah,
And we're gonna
basically.
have an accessible like next level competition with that community cup. I don't know if anybody follows Taylor Self, but he's mentioned that idea in the CrossFit Athlete Council, and it's been something that people are trying to push, having like that as a in-person competition at the gym, like one day, three workouts in June, just train for something else and make the Open more of a baseline.
Yeah, that'd be a cool idea.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, you
But
got elected to the CrossFit Athlete Council,
yeah,
so that happened.
it's been fun. We're trying to do our best to actually have a presence online, um, so that people can reach us directly and
Mhm.
people can interact with us. We're going to try and have some sort of social media existence as well, hopefully within the next couple weeks. Um,
Nice.
but definitely, it's been very active. I think we've had at least three or four meetings with HQ right now, and it only started in like late January. So
Yeah, it hasn't been a thing for very long at all.
yeah, it's been very active. We've been tasked with like getting feedback and input from whether affiliate owners, coaches. I personally am on the affiliate and teams team, so that's what I'm focused on. But yeah, I like the initiative. We're again, I like the fact that we're completely independent from CrossFit. They do
Mhm.
not sponsor us. They do not support us in any way. They do not get access to anything that like we like our all our forms and stuff are going to be anonymous, so like it's just going to be more about the actual content of the feedback and the input from people who are interested in trying to make this a better sport.
I like that. I think that's a good setup. You and I
Yeah,
actually haven't talked a ton about it, even
no,
since you
because
got
like,
elected.
well, once that happened we had that swarm of competitions.
Right.
um but I think something else that we've been doing in Ascend, we've been pushing the blogs since like late last year. So we've had
Hmm.
some written blogs about different discussions, different topics.
Yep.
They're on our website. So if you guys haven't checked our website in a long time, they're on there. We're trying to kind of have some like mini series and multiple coaches chip in there. Sometimes it's Tristan, sometimes it's me, sometimes it's Dan. Um, and again, like it's not it's more than just us three. So like keep checking them out. We're trying to make him on a weekly basis.
I think one thing with the blogs for people to take away is they're not overly lengthy,
No,
but they're very dense in
it's like
information.
yeah, it's like if I say I'm gonna rant for 3 minutes about this topic, and
Yeah,
you're
yeah,
gonna get
exactly. Yeah, like a 3 to 5 minute rant on how to get stronger
right,
or how to build your endurance. Like it's very concise and very to the point. Like there's definitely a lot of things in those blogs that people can take away
right,
and use to improve their training, their performance, whatever it is.
yeah. And then the other thing that we are trying, or we have already done, and we're trying to make known is we have launched our um, Ascend online programming basically for people who do not want to do one-on-one. They do not want to have a specific coach. They feel better like I want to have a community. I want to have a leaderboard. I have about an hour and a half to 2 hours at most. We have
Mhm.
different tracks, and we're going to continue to expand on that, right?
Yes. Yeah.
Um,
So we have three tracks right now. Train, which is kind of, I would say, what most people should be doing if they're not
mhm,
trying to be a competitive athlete. If you have an hour to 90 minutes a day, Go get after it. You'll be plenty fit enough for
And
anything in
by
life.
competitive athlete, we mean like if you're not trying to make TFX Pro or NCC Elite, like you
Right.
still that this will make you fit enough to compete locally and be like a fit person in your gym or all that. But it's just it if you're not looking to be almost a professional CrossFit athlete.
Tip of the spear. Yeah. It's just less time, less volume. Still makes you really, really fit though. So we
Hmm.
have that. We have the weightlifting program, which is a standalone Olympic weightlifting program.
Yeah.
Um,
Somebody is into weightlifting, as in snatches, clean and jerks, and then like some of the raw strength pieces, and they don't want to do CrossFit for some reason. They get that inside the package so they could just open that, do that in the day, and leave the gym.
yeah, yeah. And then we have compete, obviously, which is geared more towards people who are training to compete and then striving to compete at a higher level.
Right. So just a higher volume, higher skill,
Yeah,
uh, towards like, hey, if you want to try and get closer to that elite slash professional athlete level.
right.
Um,
That's the program where you're going to have some two a days, depending on
right,
the time of year. You're going to have more gymnastics volume, more competitive style events with weight, things like that.
right.
So, yeah, and we're going to be expanding on those. We have some things in the mix right now in terms of things we're going to add on to that. So we'll keep that under wraps for now, but it's something for people to keep an eye out for. Um, and again, I think one of the biggest points with us and the way we do those programs is um, you get all of them for one price point,
Yeah,
right?
it's not you gotta get this and that and that. It's just one one
Right.
one subscription for all the programming.
And that will carry true as we add programs to it. Like
Right.
you
It's
will
not gonna
get all
like
of the things that we offer for that one price point.
Mhm.
So that's exciting stuff. The Open coming up, we have some of those things getting announced. I feel like the Open is just this big cloud in my brain right now. I'm just like, oh, this is happening.
It always is. Programming around the open is very difficult, especially as change is coming or has been
Yeah.
done over the past couple of years. Yeah, it's difficult. You always have half weeks programmed, and you hope that like you don't have to change the next half week. Um,
Yep. But you
but
do
but
most
you
times.
do, yeah, most times you do, and again, it's a fun season, and again, I'm behind the idea of making it for the everyday athlete to have a full season of instead of like, oh, the open is the tip of the season, and then you go immediately into off season. Instead of
Yeah.
that, you're gonna have like now a 3 months period where, oh, I'm gonna do that, and then I'm gonna either do the pair competitions or the community cup or the team competition because
Right.
they're all a lot more accessible now.
Yeah. I don't. At this point, I don't see why people wouldn't do the Open
Right.
and why you wouldn't at least plan on doing some other kind of a local competition around that time, or the pairs competition, or the what's the other or is that the pairs competition?
No, there's a pairs competition and there's the community cup.
The community cup. That's what I was looking for.
Yeah. And then
Um,
there's also the team semifinals that's accessible for everybody.
right. Like I think those are things that people can use to motivate themselves to just stay in the gym and stay training and getting after it. Whether like you don't have to have lofty goals with those things. It just gives you kind of that motivation and that reason to
And honestly, like
make
for
sure you're getting
somebody
in the
like
gym.
myself, I'll be completely honest here and like expose myself a little bit, and you guys can hold me accountable for that. I'd like to go through that journey with you. My training hasn't been the best as of late, but I'm thinking the open should be my like baseline. Like I'll set goals after the open,
Same, brother.
right? Like I'll literally set goals,
Same.
but instead of like setting goals from like that's what happens every year. That almost scenario, like January, December, January is just not a good time for us coaches to peak our athleticism. Um, so every year we do the open, we're like, oh, we're doing quarterfinals a week after. and then we're gonna set goals for next open
Yeah,
every single year.
because
And,
this moment in time right now,
right,
February 14th,
right,
is the least fit I am all year.
yes. But the fact that you could do another element in 3 months,
Right.
it gives you a such like much more tangible goal setting idea, and a way for you to, again, as I said, to for the average athlete like myself, or for the little above average athlete like Tristan, like to just have a structured season that mimics a professional athlete's season, instead of just having a week up and down and you're done.
Yeah. Well, it
Or a month.
allows you to have some time to design a training block, right?
Yes.
Like you can do an open prep training block, and then it's like, okay,
Yeah, what do I do in the next, like everybody
do I just
who,
go straight into off season? It's like, well, you can, but
it's gonna be such
no.
a long off season.
Yeah, and I mean, gosh, that long of an off season, I actually don't think is productive.
No. And like, I don't know if you've felt that from people who go to the gym every day, or from people who don't make quarterfinals in general. They feel lost after the open for quite some time.
Hmm.
They're like, well,
Yeah,
everybody has either moved on to quarterfinals or is invested in some sort of other. And if there's not like a good enough local competition in your area, you're going to be like, well, I don't feel so demotivated. I don't know what I
right,
want to do right now. Right. So,
right.
and let's be honest, for most people right now, they're like peak fitness prepping. So they're going to get a little bit of a good deload after the open. And then they're going to build that back up to where you're still very fit in June, which
Yeah, to
usually
say what,
is,
3 weeks? That's or 3 months. That's plenty of time.
yeah, that's plenty of time. That's, I think that's kind of what, like, when we talked a little bit about it in the council, that's the time frame that they were looking for. Like, if you have 3 months to build your fitness again, that should be a good testament to what you've been doing in the gym,
Hmm.
and how good your programming has been, and how your consistency and all that. So
Could you imagine if we worked out for 3 months uninterrupted?
I remember days where I was very athletic.
Yeah, same. I remember those days, and then
Yeah.
I realized I'm not that guy anymore.
Nope.
Uh,
Like, if I come within a round or two of my scores in the open in 2015, 2016, I was like, okay, not too bad.
dude, I don't have a shot. I don't have a shot. If we get a repeat from 2019 or 2020, I
Yeah.
don't have a snowball's chance in hell
Well,
of getting close.
I think you were not here on that day, but we did 20.2, the 20-minute AMRAP with four dumbbell thrusters, six toes to
Ooh,
bar,
yeah.
24 double unders. And I remember hating that workout back then. And I did it, and I was like, coming out of sickness, haven't trained in 2 weeks since like Wadapalooza.
Mm.
And I was like, if I come within like 3 or 4 rounds, I'll be so happy. I think I got like 2 rounds shy of my score. I was actually okay
There
with
you
that. I was
go.
like, that's fine.
There you go. Yeah. No, the Open's a fun time. Like, it's always fun at the affiliate to just see people get after it and the cheers and all that
Yeah.
stuff. I think people should just not stress about the Open with the other stuff and just
Yeah. I
be with
think
your community.
the season changes. Yes, it does. There is a certain category of athletes that now feel like they're not able to progress or
Mhm.
to go anywhere from the open. But I think also like they can, if they just are open-minded a little bit, like, okay, let's win the community cup, because you're only going to be competing against people at the same level. So
Right.
let's say you get a level 8 or 9 or 10, right? Go win that, right?
Yeah.
Or let's say, okay, I don't have that, but I would like to go to do a local competition, or I would like to compete at WFP in Arizona or whatever. Like,
Right.
there is opportunities, and this year is about to grab. You need to grab your opportunity. You need to create your own opportunity.
One and something I don't think a lot of people think about is if you look at the timeline in an entire year, and this is something really only the people who aren't semifinal level athletes can do. You can say, okay, I'm going to do the Open, and then I'm going to do the Community Cup, or I'm gonna do another like a local in person thing around that time. So now we're in June, right? June, July.
Hmm.
Then you can say, okay, I did that. Maybe I'm gonna like take a week or two off, right? And now you can go, okay, July, August, September, October. Okay, now I have about a 16-week training block where I need to refocus on maybe a little bit more qualifier style stuff because that's when we have qualifiers for TFX, Wadapalooza, Monster Games traditionally.
Hmm.
So like, and then that leads you into that. So then you're in October, and then you can go, okay, now I qualified for Wadapalooza or I qualified for TFX, or maybe I didn't qualify for those and I'm just going to get ready for the Open. Now I can kind of take a little bit of a winter fluff phase, right? And like chill out a little bit, work on some things, spend time with the family, and then ramp back up for the Open.
Yeah.
People don't realize it, but if you're at the games or semifinal level, you don't have that option.
Mm-mm.
Like because there's always going to be these certain dates, whether it's the Open or online semifinals or TFX Invitational, CrossFit Games, Rogue, whatever. Those are like never moving.
Hmm.
So you have to prioritize everything else you do in the year around those.
Yeah.
Whereas if you're at a lower tier of athlete, you have a lot more flexibility in choosing what you want to spend your time on within a year. And it can, one, lead to an easier time creating training,
Hmm.
and two, a lot less stress,
Yeah.
right?
Absolutely.
Like Jacob has a date on a calendar,
Right.
like Hattie has a date on a calendar. We have to be ready
Hmm.
by that date. Whereas, and the reality is that's the only date that really matters.
Hmm.
Whereas if you're kind of still in that funnel moving up in your fitness, or if you're just not as, you're a fit person, but you're not training as seriously, you have a lot more plug and play
Right.
with where you want to spend your time. And I for some reason, I think there's two kinds of athletes, and you can correct me if I'm wrong. There's athletes who just don't realize that at all.
Hmm.
They only think about the traditional game season. Or there's athletes who just basically run from one qualifier to the next and
Yep.
competition to competition for an entire year. It's like, hey, you can pick three or four and
Make
kind of,
actually strides in your training and your fitness.
yeah, and have somewhat of a sensical year so that you're not just doing qualifiers all year
Yep.
and then going to competitions. So a little bit of a rant there, but it's something like I really like. I think we only notice because we're always taking the 10,000 foot view to look at the calendar year,
Yeah.
but I think it can really help people create a training structure that they enjoy a lot more.
Absolutely. I agree with you.
So,
I agree. But yeah, I
what else
think
you got?
what else? I think that's it. We are gonna try and have some open tips for y'all for each workout.
We will have
Some
open tips for sure.
um, warm ups,
Yeah.
maybe.
Warm ups, strategies, cool downs,
Right.
maybe some score projections um, on what we think would be this, that, and the other.
Last year we were.
Yo, I don't know if we're going live again, brother. Dude, I don't know if I can do that again.
We were so off on the first one.
The amount of text messages I got after the first workout, they were like, Triston, what did you just do to yourself?
Yeah.
And I said, I did not keep myself in check
Hmm.
pacing this workout. And I paid for it dearly. That honestly may still have been the most metabolic pain I've been in 365 days. I was so Mahmoud. When I tell you, I was in another dimension.
Was I sick or were you sick or were we both sick?
You were sick.
I was sick.
I tried to kill myself
Yeah.
because I did the first 21, 21, 21 or whatever it was, like I was fucking Jeff Adler. And then the wheels on the bus
Fell out
exploded,
and
just
out.
exploded off of the bus. It was so bad. It was so bad. So I don't know. Maybe we'll go live again.
Ooh, oh, I
But
don't
if
know about
so,
that. I could be the cameraman.
you fuck. You would.
We'll
That's
see.
fine.
We have not talked about that yet. I'm not ready for the world to see how unfit I
I was
am.
gonna say I've only got like 2 weeks. Yikes.
Yeah.
I can be the sacrificial lamb. I don't care. That's fine. You can be the cameraman.
I also think the first week I'll be okay, and then the next 2 weeks I'll be fasting. So that's another
That is
yay.
always a tough ask for you. Yeah.
I mean, I did it last year. It's gonna be all right. I'm doing high rocks this year again, but I'm doing two, one individual and one team.
I can't wait for you to be completely crippled after that.
Well, the open's gonna be done, so I'm gonna be fine.
Um, maybe we'll wrangle one of my athletes or your athletes that we coach at the gym, and we'll do a athlete versus coach for the
Hey,
open.
you go for it. Again, I am
I think
not.
I think I have a couple people I coach. I could give a run. Not Jacob though. Don't even nobody in the comments. Don't
You know,
suggest
everybody's
it.
already thinking about that.
That's not a race. That's
I think Jacob's
him.
gonna be thinking about
That's
that.
him beating up on me for however long the open workout is. There's not many things I could beat Jacob at this point. Those days they've come and gone, which is good.
Maybe it's a 2 miles run per time.
I don't think I could beat him at that right now. To be
A two
honest,
mile run?
I don't think so. I haven't ran since before we left for Wadapalooza.
Yeah. It
Struggled.
also, I will say that it also feels a lot longer than it actually is. It's just 3 weeks.
Yeah, sure. It's been a couple weeks.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we'll shut this down here.
Let us know if you guys want us to talk about any specific issues or topics.
Yep.
Yeah.
We are doing the YouTube thing officially at this point, so I am going to say like, subscribe, all those things for the YouTube stuff. We'll have links to all of our programs below, our website below, the blogs below, all those good things. But we appreciate you guys watching. We appreciate you guys listening, and we will see y'all next time.